All right, so I'll keep that other video where I couldn't switch the camera around. That seems like a strange. I guess I could have just turned but then I would have been able to frame it. Anyway, my first icon. I believe this is the first one I ever received. This is Christ the Teacher, and you can see that he has an open book. His expression is not overly dramatic, but it's also quite, I think, hopeful and inviting. It's stable, but it's not neutral. You know, it's not dead. He doesn't look like a statue. There's just a hint of a smile, and but not so much so that it could be called vapid or insincere. So that's Christ the Teacher. I guess I'll move my way this way. This is oh yeah, there's my refrigerator that used to be over here, but I'm trying to get rid of refrigerator. I'm going low tech. I do really well as a low tech person, and that's chalkboard paint actually. That my boys and I put up to be able to draw on the wall in the kitchen, which is also the dining room. So the next icon, I believe this was the second one I got. I'm not necessarily going in order, but this is, of course, as you can see, Saint Michael the Archangel. And the things that I'm still, every time I study the icon, I'm given some either deeper contemplation that I've already identified, or I identify something new, or it's identified for me, or some combination of those two things. But what I like to notice is that you can see where he landed. He landed. So they were having like an aerial battle, or maybe Michael snuck up on him, or something. But he landed on him, and then you can see that Michael's sword is still sheathed, and he's using that spear. And if you look very closely, he's got a reverse grip, so that would help with striking from above, from the sky. And you can see that he struck his tongue right where it divides, right where it splits into a fork, which duplicity in our speech is something we're always trying to tamp down. So every time I look at that, I think, not only should I be calling others out on their duplicity in their speech, or ambiguity, or however you want to say it, but I should also be doing that to myself. And then, of course, not just the tongue, but the spear goes through his throat, which would be a killing blow. So this is a good icon. Got it right above the thermostat. I haven't gotten the wood stove yet, otherwise the thermostat will be gone. Okay, so to contrast Christ the Teacher, I now have Christ the Pantocrator. And this is a very, very famous icon. I got this from Legacy Icons. And if you compare it to Christ the Teacher, you'll see that the book is closed. Although he still has his hand in a blessing gesture, a gesture of priestly authority, the book is closed, and at least two seals there. And there's just so much going on in this icon. I haven't even begun to. I haven't even I don't even know what to say. But one of the things that, as far as a summary, I don't know what to say, but one of the things that a lot of people notice, and it's hard to miss, but is the very start. Let me show you Christ the teacher again. Do you see how it's very symmetrical? His face is very symmetrical. With his hair, you have a little asymmetry. Of course, with his clothing and accessories, but his halo and his features, just the structure of his face and his expression is very symmetrical, very stable, a firm foundation. But over here, and if I'm not mistaken, this is from, I think it's either Egypt or I don't recall exactly where it was originally painted, but it is farther east than Christ the Teacher. But if you look, you can see that there is a lot of asymmetry. For one, one thing I noticed more recently was there seems to be a light source on this side, because you can see shadow being cast over here. So this side is more illuminated. This eye, his right eye, is more human, more like Christ the Teacher, but his left eye is more fierce. It's larger. It's more there's more angularity, even more fuzziness, sort of to it. And I might be able to move the camera to where you can see it better. Like that's and of course, what this is trying to show is what it's calling to our mind is the combination, the hypostatic union between his divine and human natures. See how much more just like an ordinary man? I mean, he still looks, I mean, he's, an attractive man, but he doesn't look like a deity. But here he looks like some kind of just someone who would strike fear. See how his lip is even almost snarled a little, and it just, and there it's just passive. Not completely passive, but receptive. And here it's like he's transmitting. And then if you look at the whole thing together, it's always pushing your mind. This is my favorite icon. I mean, how could it not be? How could it not be? But there are many other good ones. And without taking too much time, I'll try to show you. It's not the best version. It's just a photocopy. It's not painted or anything, but that's the Last Supper from the Renaissance. And this is a Byzantine icon. And this is called The Harrowing of Hell. That's a good one. Would probably be better in landscape. Oh, I guess I can't change it when I'm already taking the video, can I? I'm not sure how that works. I'm not very good with technology. And I have, oh, you just saw my clothes that need to be folded. There's St. Joseph. I don't recall what he is, which flower that is. It might be a lily. No, it's not a lily. It's a, I can't remember. It's not a lily, but you see, I am. I also, sometimes I'll read this as aim. aim for the image of Christ. So that's Saint Joseph. And then, let's see what else we have. Here is another version of the Mystical Supper. This one, I don't like it quite as much as the Renaissance version. It just isn't quite as rich, but it is good at, you see how everything's sort of spread out almost too neatly. But it's still a good icon. You're able to analyze it a little more easily. Some of the individual concepts, that are going on, like why is that picture red? And you can just ask questions like that. Of course, there's the Judas without the halo around his head. But then you see the others. They have halos. And of course, I am in the middle, teaching them, giving them his body and blood. And I plan on collecting as many icons as possible. I'm trying to think if there are any more in this side of the house. All right. So over here, I like to put an icon of Mary. I'll switch it out sometimes with other pictures of Mary, but this is a symbol that was given to my family several years ago, by someone from China, and they said that it means, I'm not sure if it's these characters that say it or if it's just, or what's communicating this concept, but they said it means family is together. And I see Mary as not only the Queen of Heaven, or she is not only the Queen of Heaven, but she's also the woman of my house. And I have a modest little altar there. But the remaining icons, this is the angel Gabriel, archangel, he who stands in God's presence. I've had many very, very deep contemplations beholding this icon. And, and actually I wanted to say real quick, I really like the language that this manual uses, Penny Catechism. I'm still working on my Latin, so this is all in English, but one of the things it says is, it's talking about icons, and I used to be very suspicious of icons. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry. Sorry for the... Oh yeah, it's in the part on the Ten Commandments, because that's one of the things that Protestants and others will, just iconoclasts in general, will point to as forbidding icons, is the you shall not make any graven image, right? Oh yeah, here's all my books. But yeah, or that's not all of them, but those are the ones that I display. And so right here, they're given an inferior honor, angels and saints, because a lot of times that's who we're praying to, right? And if a Protestant were to hear that, just from my background, if I had heard someone's praying to Gabriel, not even if it wasn't through his icon, if it was just, I'm praying to Gabriel right now, that would be like some kind of horrible polytheism. And that's immediately what my mind would have gone to. And now I know that it's an inferior honor or worship. We don't worship them as God. We, look, it's due them as servants and special friends in his government, or that's a cold way to say it, but his family. Families are good families are very well organized, and in a much more intimate way than a government. And then, what honor should we give relics, crucifixes, or holy pictures? We should give them a relative honor. They are memorials. We do not pray to them, the relics or the images. So anyway, I carry this in my pocket because it's just got so many great, easy answers to these quick questions. But now, if you wanted to have a deep theological discussion, then it would require a little more. But so that's Gabriel. Many icons of Gabriel. This is another one from Legacy. So it's technically Orthodox, although haven't observed any. I guess it's from the year 1702. I haven't observed anything contradictory to Catholic doctrine, but it's got a lot going on, as you can see. One thing I've noticed is that this whole thing here reminds me of just an eye, a close-up of an eye, which I don't know about you guys, but sometimes if I were to look in the mirror, then I might, if I weren't careful, I might be too captivated by my own eye or the eye of another person. That would be nice. You can be sort of, it's like you can forget while you're looking into their eyes. You can forget for a little while if there's anything else. And sometimes that's scary. Sometimes it's welcome because maybe you want to forget. And so this icon here helps me to remember that Christ is at the center. And one of the things that I really, and he is really in charge in this one. As you can see, he is very, very much in charge, and there's just all sorts of living creatures around him and all these things. And something I noticed about this icon that I just love, because I think it applies to me a great deal. But look, that's John. What does that look like to you compared to these other saints? See that? Look at their eyes. Do you see their eyes? And then look at him. I don't know which one that is. But see his eye compared to his, and then John's? I don't think he has any eyes in this icon. I think they're missing their eyes, and there's a couple other examples, but I don't know exactly how to put that into words, what that means. But we know that John saw things that few other people have seen in this life, and I feel like I have a lot of contemplating to do about that. But if I have an update, I'll make another video. This is the first video I've ever put on YouTube, by the way. So, and this is actually, I think I got this at the very same time I received Christ the Teacher. I received this icon, and this is Our Lady of Perpetual Help, possibly the most famous icon of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She's flanked, as you can see, by Michael and Gabriel. I'm not 100% sure what the O and the R or P or whatever that is, but I'm not sure what that means. But M surely stands for Michael, and Gimel, or whatever letter that is, Gabriel. Anyway, I could do some wild speculating about those letters, but I'll spare you. And Gabriel has the the cross for Jesus, young Jesus, in her arms. And Michael has the sponge with the sour wine and the spear that will pierce his side. And this is a very, very precious icon to me. It has brought me great, great comfort in the short time I've had it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this light on because it's dark outside. It's rainy today, and it's a little dark in this corner. So I'm going to turn that on. This one I received fairly recently. I think it's called it starts with an R, Reslov or something like that. But this is the three angelic visitors to Abraham and Sarah, and often seen as a early evidence of God's triune nature. So very, very, very important icon. And there is I can't remember what it's called, but there's another version of this where Abraham and Sarah aren't present, and it's a little bit more intimate between the three, just the looks on their faces and their demeanor. So this is a very deep one. I don't look at it very often because it's just it's a lot. It's a lot to contemplate. And this one I got very recently as well. It is simply a guardian angel. If if a guardian angel is simple, I don't know. I guess they are, but then they're also so mysterious. And he has a sword. He seems to be standing on some manifold there. This is Byzantine. Or Eastern, and he's holding a cross. So I think that's pretty much. Oh, and then here's my cypress Christmas tree here that I had. I need to plant that outside at some point. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If anyone watches it, I don't normally do this, so if it's been awkward, then I apologize. But I hope you've gained something from it. Go in Christ.